What is the most valuable thing in your life? What is the thing that will give you the most, that is proven to not just be desired, but to get to attain, to create more worth in yourself? And if we could find that, if we could live with that, if we could own it in our life, what would we become? And see, I'm asking this question mainly because our Purpose and Ambition Challenge is going on right now in our Austin Men's Development Group. It's a free board. You should check it out. If you're watching this on IGTV, there'll be some link in my bio where you can find out more about it. If you're watching this on YouTube, there should be a link to directly join the AMD group, and it's good stuff. If you're a guy that's living anywhere in the world, but if you're in Austin, it's even better, man, you can unify with people who are looking to gain a greater purpose in their life, more ambition, and to be the best man they can be. But another reason why I'm asking this is because I've been doing a lot of interviews lately, and sadly 6 of those interviews got trashed because of a hard drive that failed, broke, it screwed up, it totally sucks. But I might get it repaired, it just costs a lot of money. But one of the interviews that I recently released was of Nathan Nordstrom, and we're talking a lot about recovery. We're talking a lot about certain values that have made our lives better. And what's so beautiful about that is we get to what we really wanted in life, what really changed us in life. And it's a beautiful discussion. I really encourage you to watch it, because even me watching it and editing it, man, I learned so much from it. Every time I watch it, I get reinvigorated with who I am, my sense of self, my meaning, my purpose, direction in life. It's good stuff. It's a really good interview. But let's get into this podcast. So finding happiness, finding meaning, finding this sense of self really came about for me about 11 years ago. And I was not yet clean, I was not yet sober. You know, recovery is a big part of my life. And one of the things was that I was working with a guy who was actually 11 years clean at the time. So he hired me in Dallas for some dating advice. We were doing a one-on-one that was 3 days, and we had a good time, man. It was actually the last time I ever drank was on that meeting, and it was in June of 2008. It's actually not what I consider my clean date, because about a month later I used some drugs and so on and whatever, long story. So why this story is so important is because I was pretty miserable at the time. You know, I've had problems with drugs and alcohol my whole life. I didn't want to go and do a 12-step program because I knew what was included in it. I didn't want to have to make amends. I didn't want to have to take inventories of things that I had truly done wrong in my life. And man, to be honest, I lived a life that really was not good. A lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of trauma, a lot of things that I know just from telling my story to people that are drug addicts and so on get highly offended by. You know, a lot of bad stuff happens when you're on the streets, when you're homeless, and when your whole life revolves around getting, using, and finding the ways and means to get more. So I was working with this guy, and he was really happy. And the thing is that it didn't matter what seemed to happen in his life. He could always be him, that he had a sense of peace about him that always felt good. You know, if something went wrong, if we missed a ride, if we were late for something, if he got dumped by somebody, he had these tools to be able to accept what was wrong and find the right solution in it. It's something that maybe you guys who are in recovery might know. When you meet somebody who's really done a lot of work, they're at peace with themselves. And this, to me, at that moment in my life, was the most valuable thing. At this point in my life in 2008, I wasn't really that bad off drug-wise. Maybe 2 years before that I was really bad, but I'd been trying for 2 years to stop on my own without doing anything to really fundamentally change myself. You know, I was making money, I had a place to live and so on. There were some things that were working in my favor. Inside, I was fucked. Inside, I had memories from when I was using harder 2 years prior to that, of being homeless, of being sexually assaulted, of being violent, of living as a thief, of living as an addict, of living as somebody who had all those problems with it. And my solution for that was to never think of those things again, was that I didn't want to deal with them. Whatever I could do to replace them, basically make my life look good, I wouldn't have to remember them. Whatever I could do to forget them, whatever I could do to never bring them up, whatever I could do to never remind myself of them. And what I saw with this guy 11 years ago was basically that he could handle any of that and he was at peace. And this was so valuable to me at the time that I wanted that. And that I was willing to look at, uncover, to confront all those things in my past which had haunted me in order to have it. And man, to know the lengths that I ran from to never have to look at those things, to hide those things from reality, to cover up with drugs, to cover up with success, to cover up with money, for me to actually go, man, I want a piece of that and I'll do whatever it takes because I am miserable and my life sucks. That has turned out to be the most valuable thing. So you might be kind of thinking, well, that's kind of anticlimactic, Steve. And it kind of is, but the story's not done yet, because basically, I wanted peace and I wanted to work for it. And to me, that's pretty crazy because how screwed up my life was and what I knew I would have to do to work for, to find that peace that this gentleman kind of had in him, was that I had to do things that terrified me. What is important to this story and what is relevant to kind of what's going on in our purpose and ambition challenges is there's a lot of guys talking about happiness. There's a lot of guys talking about what they want, what gives them pleasure, this thing which gives them meaning and fulfillment in their life, which is beautiful, like playing with your kids or diving into a new career or feeling alive with women and so on. But the problem with that is that whenever I went for just what I wanted, I could never be happy. And that might not make sense because I have plenty of happy moments in my life, and it is beautiful to go for what you want. Your ambition is key. You are supposed to, if I don't fall here, you are supposed to achieve things. This is all good, but there's something about our culture which says that if we achieve those things, then we're gonna be complete. And we think that that is the truth, and that is not the truth. See, the thing that gave me an ability to have happiness wasn't me getting the things that I wanted. The things that I wanted were important and they're huge and they're something that I absolutely value, but it was about me learning who I was, being okay with who I was, no matter what the situation that was put in front of me, no matter what the situation was. And that if I could be and do all of that, then that made me clear, then that made me open, then that made me know what my real expression was, and happiness wasn't dependent upon me just getting my goals. Because then it unfolded to a whole nother part of my life, which was learning to get things and have things. See, I always thought that something from the outside would make me happy, rather than something from the outside complementing my life. And this is a long journey, and I know it's a cliche, but people get it wrong all the time. And so when guys are talking about this on their purpose and ambition of happiness, of getting things, I want them to get those things, but more importantly, what I want is for them to be able to have those things and get things that they can manage in their lives and get things that come into their lives and don't replace the work necessary for them to focus on who they are. See, whatever it is, the car, the time with your kids, the house, the money, the bank accounts, the fame, the status, those are all great. But if we're unhappy inside, those are things which get highly, highly leveraged by our insecurities, our fears, or our misinterpretations of society defining what should make us happy. And what's so beautiful about what's going on in our men's group right now, really check it out. Go to Austin Men's Development and see what it's all about. The Facebook group's on fire right now. But what's really so important about all of that is these guys are diving deep into that. What really makes us happy? Because here's the thing, is if we do not take care of who we are, no matter what happens, then no matter what success comes in our life, no matter what things that are good that we can achieve, it almost works like a curse because they'll never actually fulfill us. See, we live in a society where, man, we have so much. We can go in cars that have climate control, where we can watch TV and movies or listen to whatever we want. We can even talk to a friend during all of that, but traffic still sucks. We have access to all the information that we could imagine. We have access to different coaches and philosophers and information of how we can beat depression, how we can get success or learn how to make money when we just have an idea. We don't have a shortage of information. We don't have a shortage of access to good things. And by all means, all that's good and I want it to stay and I want you to use it. But I want you to use it with the person that's really you, that isn't dependent upon having that whether or not he's happy. And see, the most valuable thing in my life, which has given me the ability to have the great things in my life, is that fundamental discipline to do the things necessary that I can live life on life's terms. No matter what is put in front of me, I can be happy. I can find peace. So much to the point when bad things happen in my life, I know it can happen. So much to the point when my son, who's awesome, knocks over my hard drive when it's in use, and I didn't have the 6 interviews that I just shot backed up, that I don't have to lose my mind, and that I could be a good person, and I could share a moment with him, and that I could be actually proud of him for many reasons. And see, that is the coolest thing. I'm not a slave to this world. I'm not a slave to good things or bad things or reactions happening to me. I have choice. And the sad part of it is I needed to get to a desperate spot in order to have that choice, in order to do what was necessary to build that choice. And I can almost guarantee you, if you're watching this right now, you have more access than I did in 2008 when I made that decision and that choice to change whatever it is I needed to change to find that peace that I saw in that man. And so that is really my challenge for you today. And hey, if you want some help on that challenge, go to austinmensdevelopment.com. We got 7 PDFs, 7 videos. We got lessons just mapping out this purpose and ambition challenge that is free for you to take and really find out what's gonna make you happy, all the while being a part of a community and a group of guys that is focused on being their best self. And guys, if you have any questions or comments, shoot me an email or tag me or message me or whatever it is. Pretty accessible guy, and we'll talk soon. All right, I got one more video to make today. That's what happens when you make too many commitments with people online.